Hi everyone. Let's look at how easy it is to deploy Qumulo cluster in AWS. We have several ways of doing it, but the most popular ones being using AWS Cloudformation service, which is infrastructure as a code service from AWS, and the other popular one would be to use Terraform, which is open source. In this demo, we will use the Cloudformation templates provided by Qumulo. As you can see, you can get to the GitHub page with the above URL here. And this will take you to the page which hosts all the code, documentation, etc. If you scroll through, you will see the infrastructure that gets deployed as a part of this Cloudformation template. First, you need to click on this code and download the zip. It will download the files into your local machine. All you need to do is unzip it and upload the folder into an S3 bucket. In my example, I navigate to AWS Management Console, go to buckets, and I have a bucket in place, and I just drag and drop the resulting folder from the unzipped file, and that is this one. As you can see, all the related assets here match with what's there in the GitHub page. Next, I'm going to navigate to AWS Cloudformation service. Once this gets loaded, I'm going to create stack. Make sure these options are selected, and I'm going to provide the S3 URL. In order to do that, go back to the folder where you uploaded the assets and click on this YAML file and then copy the object URL. Go back to Cloudformation and paste the URL. Click on next. Now I'm going to fill out all the required parameters. As you can see, I have filled out the required parameters here. On a high level, you need to provide things like the Cloudformation stack name, AWS configuration, like the VPC subnet IDs, and optional parameters, as well as Qumulo specific configuration on what size you need the cluster to be deployed, etc. After that, you need to click on next. You can optionally provide keys. Go to stack create options and disable rollback on failure so that if there is any failures, you can look at it. Make sure all the settings are desired here. Then click on these three checkboxes and create stack. Okay, so after about 10 minutes, my stack is complete. As you can see here, the create complete. If you go to events, you will see all the related stack that gets deployed, which are nested stacks, as well as the time it took. For my stack, it started at 10:24, was complete at 10:33 here, about 10 minutes. Then I go to outputs and choose this public IP in order to access the Qumulo cluster. Please note that I chose the public IP management option in the Cloudformation to true so that I can go to the Qumulo cluster using the public IP. Typically in production use cases, you won't choose that option, so you manage via a private, EC2 instance or over VPN. Okay, as you can see, this is a brand new cluster with no data in it. I'm going to create NFS exports. So Mike, our partner at Atempo, is going to do some migration into this cluster. Please note you can also create SMB shares and combination of both and use it for the migration. Okay, I have created 3 NFS exports for home, media, and research. And I'm going to hand it over to Mike to do the migration from on-premises NAS system to the Qumulo cluster in AWS.
Today we're here to demonstrate how you can transfer data from on-prem storage to the cloud. More specifically here, we're talking about Qumulo in the cloud. And how do we do it seamlessly and efficiently using Atempo's mirror for migration? So let's get started real quickly. So what we're doing here today is we have our 1 gigabit office link for this demonstration. It's connected to our Iceland appliance. This could be some other appliance in our Qumulo in the cloud. And what I've already done is I've installed my software and pre-configured my NAS access points. Now after that, it's really just a matter of setting up your tasks to start the migration. We happen to be using 2 NFS exports today, but you could be using, as I said, SMB, some other type of file system, all from Myria, all going to Qumulo in the cloud. I've already set up one of our tasks, but we're going to do the other right now to show you how easy it is. What I have up here on the screen, as you can see, is a access point going to a web browser, right? So I already have pre-configured everything set up, so we're going to just going to log in automatically. Now, what you get is when you first log in, you drop right into the migration page when you root. You can already see one of our tasks is running. We're going to go ahead, we're going to start a new project. So we're going to name our project Research 1. How's that? Because we're going to actually move some stuff out of our research page. And we'll go ahead and set up a new task real quickly. Now, what you can do right here, it's a pull down. Let's look for our sources, right? So we want to come off our Iceland. We want to go to, as I said, we have a Qumulo in the cloud set up with NFS here. And again, you could have also SMB, as I said earlier, other access points you want to use. Once you bring it up, you can start to look at your different locations. I happen to know my data happens to be located in NFS, and I want to take everything in research, and I actually just want to move it right to this research folder. I simply add that, and I can set multiple relations to move at the same time. This one we just happen to do one. Real important thing here is exclusions, especially when you're doing things that do snapshotting and other. You can do that here and just tell the tool or the appliance here, I do not want to copy snapshots, right? And I just add that inclusion. And I can delete it, I can add more, I could add temp files, DSS store files, and other things like that. Go ahead and click next. You'll see here there's multiple modes you can run, and we're going to do echo. Echo just says move everything from source to target and make sure it all matches. There's no extra files on target that may be already previously there. We can do ours with a snapshot, helps with quicker scans. Our fast scan technology, which allows for the use of the snapshots to build change lists so I don't have to walk file systems after the first seed of data. You can schedule it. We're not going to do that because this is our first seed. I'm going to set up threads, and this is just a number of cores to use on our system. I'm just going to tell it two cores, and then I'm going to set parallel jobs. In this case, I'm running on a little NUC with 12 cores in it. I'm going to tell it to use 6 parallel jobs. I'm going to tell it actually run, hey, every 5 minutes when you're running, fire up a job if you find something needs to be done, or maybe we'll say 100 gigabytes of data or 200, let's do it smaller. Let's say 50,000 files. Fire up a job, one of those sub jobs I'm setting right here, and start moving data so that you get to move data in parallel while you're still looking for data. Copy mode will keep as the default to move everything. Hash checking, you can set up hash checking both from a block level and a file level. If you set any of these here, you'll do a file level migration and a check of the data, the hash that you've selected. Go ahead and we'll hit next. It says, hey, do you really want to set it up as echo? I say yes. Then just give it a name. I'll give it, maybe we'll do what? Research, how's it? Research 1, you think? If I could type, Research 1. And then we'll just say new task. And then we're done. We'll just say back. So our new task has been created here, but it hasn't been started. So what we'll do now is I can, if I had multiple tasks, I could go in here and tell it to start all tasks, right? I can start tasks in test mode. I'm actually just going to click on the task. And right from here, I'm going to tell it to launch it. Right? And you can launch it from an integrity check as well. But I'm just going to tell it, hey, launch my task. Once you've done that, a few seconds, it's going to start to spin up. We'll start to run. We'll go back to the main page here for a second for migration. You see the task, it's going to give it a second here, it'll spin up. It's starting to run. It's already found 14 megs worth of data it wants to move. You can actually watch it from here. This screen will show you volume per day or objects per day. Or you can take a look in the activity log. You'll see some stuff we already have running. There's 2 tasks that are running now. I can drill into them. I could take a look at what's going, these synchronization jobs, which are running from each. It'll tell you the speed it's running. This one hasn't started up yet. It will shortly because we just started at 11:53, you'll see. And it's finding different jobs to run that meet some of those criteria of files and or size. Time obviously hasn't been reached, but you can go through and actually look on each one of these as they're running. You can click off here, get details of a task, how much it thinks it's going to run. This one happens to 150,000 files and 1,000 directories. So you can start to look at what's running and get some idea on how long things are going to take. And that's really it. Once you've got this running and you see how simple it was, now it's just a matter of executing simultaneous jobs after, I should say, incremental jobs by scheduling them after this first seed is finished, and you have your data easily moved up to the Qumulo cloud. Thanks for your attention. Have a great day.
Okay, now that you have seen Mike from Atempo demonstrate how to migrate from on-prem NAS systems like Isilon to Qumulo cluster running in AWS, I want to wrap this by showing how it looks like in Qumulo in AWS. As you can see, I logged into the dashboard of Qumulo and you see the data is now at there is 542 gigabytes of data approximately, and we have migrated close to 82,000 files across 52K directories. Obviously, in the background, we ran multiple jobs to different directories to pull in more data. And one of the things I want to show you here is the value that Qumulo provides in terms of rich analytics capabilities. It is not only useful to understand what data you have in terms of directories, files, what kind of files, and have the deep insights into the data that you store, but it's also useful in migration, where you can see that I have migrated around, we completed this migration around 4 p.m. or so. So I can go into this historic data here, and you can see the cluster activity or performance, right, in terms of IOPS, throughput, and latency during this migration. And additionally, there is more activity. You can see how many clients are connected at any point in time, what is the directory changes, and many more. In terms of data itself, right, you can go to this Capacity Explorer and you can see that we primarily migrated home, media, and research data. And if you scroll over, you can see that it migrated with the permissions, of course, as well as you can dig deeper in Qumulo side as to what the data is inside those particular folders or shares. Thank you. So in summary, during this demo, we looked at how easy it is to spin up a Qumulo cluster in AWS, and you saw how to migrate large file system from on-premise systems to Qumulo in the cloud, and some of the Qumulo's rich analytics capabilities to augment and get insights into the migration and the file system that you have. Thank you.